Peace and blessings be upon everyone. Today is the early morning of March 9th, 2025. It was daylight savings time last night, so the sun does not rise here in Central Time until like 7 o'clock or something like that. Right now it's maybe like 6:50 in the morning, something like that. I can't even tell what time it is. But I prayed Fajr. I've been up since Fajr. That was like 6:15 or something like that. And I know for sure it's before the sun has officially raised. You know, it's a favor that God is going to do upon the entire planet for all of his creations, from the trees to the bees to us human beings. He's going to do us a favor by raising that sun up. Inshallah. That sun will get raised up this morning, you know. The sun just don't naturally rise, you know what I'm saying? God does the entire planet a favor, and all of the creations that he made on the planet a favor by raising that sun up for us every day and setting it every night, right? But today is March 9th. You know, Ramadan started March 1st this year, 2025. So today is the 9th day of Ramadan. And I'm feeling good this morning. You know, ate a little, sahur meal. I want to say sahur. What I had, just some blueberries, some pomegranate, what else I had? Then I mixed in like some raw organic honey in there, and then put some walnut milk on there. It was pretty fire, decent little sahur, right? I drank some water, so I'm chilling. And today's a Sunday, so I'm chilling. I mean, the last few days of Ramadan have been fine, honestly. I'm starting to get in the groove of it, you know. That sun setting at 6 p.m. every day, though, that was pretty sweet, you know what I'm saying? You know, the sun, daylight savings just happened. You know, it's spring. It's going to be springtime, so, you fall back, you spring forward. So we done sprung forward an hour, so the sun, inshallah, is not going to set until 7 o'clock or around then. From now on, it's just going to get later and later every day, inshallah. So just an extra hour added on to fasting, honestly. Which I guess it just build more discipline, mashallah. I mean, my day's been good though, man. My days have been good. I was really gearing towards going back towards my veganism, but I went and got some slow roasted chickens today from Deerberg, so I'm gonna eat on those, and then I'm gonna contemplate again about going back vegan. But I definitely want to go vegan during Ramadan, just to give my digestive system a chance to honestly rest, because it's already resting while we're fasting. So to just have it work so hard to digest meat and dairy and stuff like that, I might as well just give it a full rest and just go back vegan. But if I go back vegan, I don't want to just do it for the rest of Ramadan. I want to do it for like the next year or two. So it's really something I gotta decide, but it's something I want to do though. Just off of how I felt while being vegan. I was vegan for the entire 2023 and all the way up to October 2024. So yeah. But now it's all good though, y'all. I mean, Ramadan has been good. I'm still hitting my 5 daily prayers. You know, but I'm on a 7-day streak of the 5 daily prayers, and you know, it says in the Quran to ask God for help with your patience and your prayers. So that's what I've been doing, and you know, He's been helping me. You know, during Ramadan, your prayers are heard more than ever, and the devils and the demons are locked up during this month of Ramadan for all of humanity. So we're really able to see what some of the real causes that we just blame on the devil, but some of the real causes that are responsible for some of our bad decisions and some of our, you know, unproductive habits, unproductive mind frames, or whatever. You know, we can't blame it on the devil during this month. We got to blame it on ourselves. If we fall into desire, if we fall into temptation, if we do a bad deed, you know, we can't blame it on the ultimate deceiver during this month, you know, because he's locked away and all of his companions and helpers are locked away right now, you know. So appreciating God for that. And I really didn't have a set topic to talk about while, you know, recording. I just wanted to record. I don't know if y'all can hear the birds chirping. But I mean, that's a lot too. And you know, over the last day or two, I found out about something called Taoism. It's like a Chinese philosophy, and it speaks towards like the nature of everything, and how everything is just in like a natural order, and to respect the natural order and try to align ourselves with the natural order as much as we possibly can. I feel like the best, well, not the best surah that speaks towards it, but a surah that definitely speaks towards it is Surah 16, An-Nahl, which is in English titled The Bee. And in that chapter, it's named The Bee because in an ayat in that chapter, or in a verse in that chapter, God says that surely God inspired the bees, you know, to do what they do, and that there's healing in honey and things of that nature, and kind of just the whole theme of that surah is that God has basically put everything in like a natural order, and that nature is already in a natural order, and that us worshiping God is us being in our natural order. Because it also states in the Quran, you know, it's a question that exists amongst all of humanity. You know, why were we created as humans? You know, we were created for this reason. We were created for that reason. You know, we were created because of this. We were created because of that. Nah, we was created because of this. Nah, we was created because of that. You know, it's an argument that's amongst humanity, you know. But God gives us the answer of why we were created, why He created us. I believe He gives us the answer in Surah 51. I forget the title of Surah 51. But God says, and I'm a double check that it's Surah 51. But God says in the Quran that the reason why He created us human beings, the sole reason He created us is so we can worship him. God created us to worship him. Shout out to my auntie Karima Johnson. May she rest in peace. She died October 22nd, 2023. But not only was she one of my favorite people ever, she was my absolute favorite Christian ever. And she told me something that was very heavy. She said, God does not create anything he cannot use. God does not create anything he cannot use. And it makes me wonder, it's like he created us so we could worship him. So it's like, but I know that us worshiping him does not benefit him any, but it benefits us. Or is it, he does not need our praises or our worship, but we need his protection and his blessings and his sustenance. It's just a real, like it activates your brain, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a thought provoker, and it's a lot of thought provokers. There's actually a lot of ayats in the Quran that it says, God, gives you this example so he can provoke thought, in us, so that's pretty heavy, man. God created us only so we can worship him. And then also like how God is like all knowing and all aware. Because in Surah 2, which is in English titled the cow or the heifer, I forget the Arabic title, but I know that Surah 2 is the longest surah in the Quran. But towards the beginning of Surah 2, it speaks towards a conversation that God had with the angels. I want to say before he was created Adam. He had a conversation with the angels. He said, angels, I'm about to create a vicegerent on earth. And vicegerent basically means like a kind of like a most powerful thing, or like it doesn't exactly mean ruler. It doesn't exactly mean like a good word for vicegerent is maybe like a dominator. You know what I'm saying? How maybe a lion can be considered the king of the jungle, but he can also be considered like the vicegerent of the jungle, right? Us as human beings, we are vicegerents on earth because out of any creation, we're the ones that, have a conscience, that have free will, that, have built lofty houses for us to live in and, things of that nature. Created weapons, created technology, mainly that was God creating all of that, but through the abilities that he gave us, right? But through us though, right? His creation. So God was having a conversation with the angels. He said, I'm about to make a vicegerent on earth, right? And the angels questioned God. The angels hit him with a question. They said, God, Are you gonna create a creation that is not gonna glorify you and that is gonna, spill blood on the earth? Like, I'm paraphrasing somewhat, but I'm accurate, So that's what they said. They said, God, are you going to create a creation that is not going to glorify you, and is that going to and is going to spill blood on the earth? God told them, he said, I know what you do not know, right? God had the angels go pick up clay on the earth, right? But not just clay from one section of the earth. He had them go pick up clay from every continent, from everywhere on earth, right? And then he got all this clay together, and then in his image created Adam. And it says that Adam was either 20 cubits tall or 60 cubits tall. And a cubit is approximate to a meter. And a meter is approximate to 3 feet. So it was either 20 cubits tall or 60 cubits tall. I'm gonna get that together for y'all. And God had Adam sit there for 40 years. 40 is a very blessed number. He had Adam sit there for 40 years before he breathed spirit into Adam. And all of the angels were, confused and nervous and, a little scared of Adam. Because Adam was just, Adam, may peace be upon him, he was just sitting there, right? But it was a spirit named Iblis, right? And Iblis was the most fearful and nervous and worried about Adam out of all of the angels, right? Not sure if Iblis was an angel or if he was solely a spirit, or maybe he was an angel with a spirit, right? But Iblis grew a hatred towards Adam, so much so that he would come through and hit Adam, and cause dents into Adam. You know what I'm saying? He started really hating Adam. So, God ordered all of the angels to prostrate in front of Adam. If you don't know what prostrating is, prostrating is getting on your knees and going like this, bowing down. But he didn't have them do this to worship Adam. He had them do this to give Adam their blessing, right? All the angels prostrated except for Iblis. So then God asked Iblis, he said, Iblis, why are you not prostrating in front of Adam? He said, Iblis said, because it does not behoove me any. It does not behoove me. It doesn't benefit me any, and because I am greater than he. And then God says, you are accursed until the last day, right? And Iblis said, God, give me respite or allow me to exist so I can try to deter this creation as far as I can from you so you can see who your true believers are. And God said, okay, I give you respite, but you gonna be down there. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna be down there. We all know where down there is, you're going to be down in that one place. You know what I'm saying? So, Adam got the Spirit breathed into him, right? And what happened was the Spirit was going like from the head all the way down, right? So the Spirit got to Adam's head and he sneezed. And it was said, may blessings be upon you.
And then the Spirit reached Adam's eyes, and with his eyes he saw all the fruits in paradise.
And then the Spirit got to Adam's stomach, and he started to get hungry, right? Adam tries to go towards
the delectables, man. He was going towards the fruits in paradise.
Before the Spirit hit his legs, so that Adam fell over, right? And in that moment, God said, surely man is impatient, right? That's cold, y'all. That's cold. But this banter is going on back and forth between God and Iblis, to where this is, the moment where Iblis is becoming, Satan. And, Adam, this is just when Adam is, getting the Spirit breathed into him. So he's like confused. He's just, gained consciousness, but he sees what's going on and he immediately recognizes Satan as the enemy. You see what I'm saying? So time goes on, and Adam is, in paradise, right? And Adam is not worried about providing food for himself or protection for himself or, harsh conditions or none of that, because he is in paradise, right? And, Adam began to become lonely. So one day, Adam is asleep. He wakes up, and it's a creature just looking at him, like just wide-eyed, looking right at his face when he wakes up. So in that moment, he asks this creation, he said, who are you? Or like, what are you? And she says, I am woman. Adam says, why were you created? And she says, so you can find tranquility in me, or so you can find peace in me, right? And then the angels, had a little discussion, and they was confused. And they went up to Adam and they said, Adam, what is her name? He said, her name is Eve. And they said, why is that her name? He said, because she is something that was created from me.
Because she was created from something that was already living.
They say that Eve was created from Adam's shortest left rib, but Allah knows best, right? So they had that conversation, and after that, like Adam and Eve, were in paradise, like chilling, you know what I'm saying? But God had warned them, do not eat from this tree, from this specific tree. do not eat any fruit from this specific tree. I'm not sure if he warned Adam prior to Eve's arrival or if he warned them together. I'm not sure. But they lived up there, for a long time. They lived in paradise for a long time. A long, 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 long while. And then, one day, the devil had, kind of got in their ear and, was telling them to eat from a tree, right? Because the fruit was just so good and woo, 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 and because the fruit was going to help them be better and right? So they eat from this tree, the fruit, and before they can even finish the fruit, they both just realize what they did. They throw the fruit, and then at that point, it says in the Quran, I believe, it says like their shameful parts became, aware to one another. But really, like their private parts, they became aware of each other's private parts. So then they started rushing to cover themselves with like leaves and stuff like that. And then God came to them and said, you guys, did what I told y'all not to do. So I'm finna send y'all to earth. All right? So they send them down, he sends them down to earth. And they start, living like a harder life. You know what I'm saying? Like they start having to protect themselves from the weather and the elements. They start having to hunt and find their own food. They had to protect themselves from animals and find shelter and things of that nature, right? And Adam's story continues, but I'm gonna end it right there. I'm gonna really end it right there because it's something I want to point out, right? They had lived there all of their time, and then they finally ate that forbidden fruit, and then that's what sent them down to earth. But if you remember what I was saying about the conversation that God was having with the angels, God had told the angels that he was creating a vicegerent for the earth, right? So then that made me think. And real quick on that, right? Real quick on that though. Once Adam was created or whatever, God taught Adam the names of all things. Like maybe, for example, Adam taught the name of a tree. So like a tree was called a tree, or like maybe a tiger was called a tiger, or a bear was called a bear, right? So then God started presenting these things in front of the angels and was telling the angels, what's the name of this? What's the name of this? What's the name of this? And the angels was like, we don't know. We don't know. And then God asked Adam, he said, Adam, what's the name of this? What's the name of this? What's the name of this? And then Adam started naming everything off. And then God looked and turned to the angels and said, didn't I tell you that I know what you do not know? And the angels said, we're sorry, God. We're sorry for questioning you. Woo, 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 woo. And then, yeah. And then God told the angels that Adam had more knowledge than them. And proved it too, right? But boom, back to what I was saying, right? I just missed that part. I felt like that was a part that I need to say. But what I was saying was, Adam and Eve, they were in paradise for all of them years, right? And then they finally, naturally forgot about, God and ate from that uh, forbidden tree, ate the forbidden fruit, right? And then got sent down to earth. But at the beginning in that conversation with the angels, before he sent them to go get the clay and everything, he told them that he was creating a vicegerent for earth, right? So that made me think like, did God know that Adam and Eve was gonna eat that fruit? Like, and then that made me think like, is that the way to explain free will? That yes, God gave us free will and that we can do what we want to do. If I want to flip this little table that this setup is on and just send it flying, I can send it flying, right? If I want to run outside in my drawers, I can run outside in my drawers. You know what I'm saying? It's free will. But it's like, does God know what we're about to do before we do it? Because he told the angels that he was creating a vicegerent for the earth. So God already knew that God created Adam to be on the earth. You see what I'm saying? So did God already know during all of them years of having Adam and Eve in paradise that they were gonna forget about him and what he said and forget that he told them that the devil is their enemy and wants nothing but the worst for them? And did God basically already know that they were going to eat the forbidden fruit? And my thing is he had to know because he created Adam to be a vicegerent for the earth, not a vicegerent for paradise. You know what I'm saying? So I always wondered about that. Even though God gave us free will, does God know what we're about to do with our free will? I mean, God knows the hour. It says in the Quran that nobody knows what we will earn the next day, and nobody knows the land in which they will die in, right? That only God knows that. And God is the all aware, it's not a leaf that falls on earth that God is unaware of. Not a leaf that has ever fell on earth since earth's existence that God is unaware of, right? God is all aware. It's never a conversation between two parties where God is not the third. God is all aware. So it's and that's one of his 99 names. God has 99 names. And one of his names is the all aware. So it's one of God's names also is the most subtle, So it's God had to know. God has to know what we're about to do with our free will. And I don't know, that's something to think about. God created Adam to be the vicegerent for earth. But he had placed Adam in paradise. So did he already know that Adam was going to eat from the forbidden tree? Did he already know? And my conclusion is, he had to know that he was going to eat from there because he's the all aware. And he had to know because he knows us better than he knows us better than we know ourselves because he created us, the inventor of something is always going to know his invention, no matter how smart, no matter how brilliant his invention becomes, right? Or no matter how powerful the invention he invented is, right? So it's like God had to know. God had to know that Adam was going to eat from that tree, and that means, you know, God has to know what we're about to do with our free will. You know what I'm saying? I just went like that. Maybe God already knew that I was going to go like that. Maybe God already knew that I was going to talk about what I was going to talk about on this video before I press record. You know what I'm saying? It's wild, man, just to think about how almighty and how that's the perfect word for it, how almighty God is. You know what I'm saying? How almighty God is. Like, man, like, one of his names is also the one. You know, like, he is the one. You know what I'm saying? God is the one. So where my time at? Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that, y'all. Today, I just wanted to provoke some thought in people on this morning. As you see behind me, the sun is rising up on this March 9th, on this daylight saving times day, to where we done sprung forward a morning. And just to get the time for y'all, it's 7:29, right? So yeah. And whenever I see a time, or whenever I see, like, y'all see the time, 7:29. Whenever I see a time, or wherever I see like a price at a gas station, I always think about the two numbers. So if I see 7:29, I think about Surah 7, and I think about Surah 29. And Surah 29 is titled The Spider, right? And I'm gonna leave it with y'all. I'm gonna leave y'all with this, right? I'm gonna leave y'all with this. Surah 29 is titled The Spider. And it says two main things, right?
This surah says a lot, but these are the two things that came to mind.
It says, do people think that God is gonna consider them one of the believers without testing them and seeing if they're a believer? That's one thing. And then the second thing that it says, and how that surah got its title, it says, putting your faith in anything other than God is as fragile as the house of a spider. And there is no house more fragile than the house of a spider. So y'all, you know, we put our faith in God and nothing else. Putting your faith in people, putting your faith in our own abilities. You understand? It's okay to be confident in people, confident in our own abilities, right? But it's putting our full 100% faith into our hands and our feet. We are sadly mistaken. We need to put our full 100% faith in God and nothing else. May peace and blessings be upon everyone. And may all Muslims across the world have a peaceful and blessed Ramadan. Allahu Akbar.